Hi everyone, now we're going to see the aorta and the transesophageal echocardiography. Okay, so that one, so spell so TEE. Okay, so and before we continue, I would like to share with you, which is John 14:27, and says that peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Amen. So that was John 14:27. Okay, so now the transesophageal echocardiography, also we can visualize the aorta. So you remember that if you enter, so as we were mentioning before, so you have your esophagus here, so I'm going to draw your esophagus here. Okay, so and then you enter your transesophageal probe, and then if you go anteriorly, so the waves anteriorly, you can see your left atrium, you can see your mitral valve, and you can see your septum. Okay, the interatrium septum. This is if you rotate this anteriorly, but we want now to rotate this posteriorly. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so now we are going to have the same device. Okay, we're going to have the same probe, so we have the same probe, but now it is facing posteriorly. Sorry, I shouldn't erase that one, I mean the wrong one. Yeah, so now we here we go. So now we are in the posteriorly. So which structure can you visualize in the posteriorly? You can visualize your aorta. Okay, this is your aorta. But why I would like to visualize the aorta? Well, probably if the patient has an aneurysm, you can detect it. Okay, or and it's on other things. So but now this is one example, aneurysm, but I would like to explain better because the aorta has 4 divisions. Okay, so the aorta, we have, as we already know, we are learning right now, we have the ascending aorta, the arc of the aorta, we have the descending aorta, thoracic, and the descending as well, but one entering your abdomen. Okay, now with those 4 divisions, they come, the first one, so imagine that this is your heart. Okay, so we're drawing here your heart. Okay, you have your aorta from your left ventricle. Okay, it's coming here. Okay, so and then we have the ascending here, ascending is here. Then we have the arc of the aorta, which is here, the arc of the aorta. Then we have the descending aorta, which is this one here, but this is in the thoracic. And then we have, continue with the aorta, so which is going to be the other descending, but this is going to be in the abdominal. Okay, in the abdominal aorta. Now when we are in the ascending aorta, which is this one here, this one is going to be posteriorly. Okay, so it's going to be in the posterior area, so basically going to lie posterior, and then to the right of the main pulmonary artery. Okay, so into the right going to be the main pulmonary artery, and then going to be lie posterior. So the main pulmonary artery is going to be on the right side. Now then when we are into the arc of the aorta, which is here, is going to travel above the pulmonary artery and the left bronchus. Then we have the brachiocephalic left and common the carotid artery, and the left subclavian arteries originate in that order from its superior aspects. Okay, let me explain a little bit better the anatomy with those some pictures here. Okay, so basically you say, whoa, what is this? This is too much. Okay, so let's just figure it out. Well, you have your heart, which is here. Okay, so I'm going to put in this in green. This is your heart. Okay, and now your heart, which is all this is your heart. As I mentioned here, your heart has all those 4 chambers, all of those things, but we are focusing in this one, in the aorta that comes from your left ventricle. Now, the aorta comes from the left ventricle, and as we mentioned before, we have the ascending aorta, which is right here. Sorry, so we have the ascending aorta, which is right here, and then the arc of the aorta, and then from the arc of the aorta, we're going to have 3 branches. But before we continue with those 3 branches, usually something that we don't explain or because they are too little, so we miss it sometimes, but it is very important to remember. So you can see here these tiny arteries behind, coming basically from the root of the aorta. Those are the coronary arteries. So those coronary arteries that are right here, those tiny coronary arteries, are the responsible to supply the blood to your heart. Okay, so when do they supply the blood to your heart? So when you are in diastole. So diastole is when you are not when your heart is not pumping. Okay, while systole or systole is when your heart is pumping. But those one that I mentioned here, those coronary arteries, so they are doing they are feeding the heart during diastole. Now I'm going to give you here an advice. If you exercise, so your heart becomes strong, and if your heart becomes strong, I mean pump better, and you spend more time in diastole, and then you can feed more your heart. So which kind of exercise is better than others? So which one? So the one that is better is the cardio, like run, walk, jog, etc. Okay, now let's just move on. Now we have the coronary arteries. Basically it's at the root of the aorta, then we ascending aorta, then we come back again to the arc of the aorta. The arc of the aorta have 3 big branches. One is called the brachiocephalic artery, which is this one here, and this one is going to split in 2. One is going to be the right subclavian artery, and then the other is the right common carotid artery. So if we have one right subclavian artery, so that means that we should have a left subclavian artery. But the difference between the right subclavian artery, besides are in different places, is that the right subclavian artery comes from the brachiocephalic artery, okay, and your left subclavian artery come directly from your arc of the aorta. Okay, now then we have another that comes from the brachiocephalic artery. It is the right common carotid artery. Okay, so how I can remember this? I mean, usually I mean almost everybody is right-handed, so almost everybody write with the right hand. Okay, now because we have now in the right side, so we're going to have more divisions. Okay, so from the one brachiocephalic artery give you 2, which is the right subclavian artery and the right common carotid artery, and then the right common carotid artery is going to split. But well, now in the left side you have your left subclavian artery that comes directly from the arc of the aorta, and you have your left common carotid artery, which is this one here. Okay, and this is the arc of the aorta. Then the aorta comes the descending aorta, which is this one, continue here, descending, and then give you intercostal arteries, and then you enter into your abdominal aorta, which is right here, and then continue giving branches everywhere. Okay, but at the end, so this abdominal aorta is going to split in the common iliac artery. Okay, so you're going to occur division here. Okay, now, so if with that in mind, so we can just see this picture in a more better size. So as we mentioned, so you have your right coronary arteries, then you have your ascending aorta, then you have your brachiocephalic that is going to split in 2, right subclavian artery, right common carotid artery. Then in the arc of the aorta we have also your left common carotid artery and your left subclavian artery. Then you have your descending aorta and the thoracic aorta and the abdominal aorta. And don't forget that if you have one right coronary artery at the roots of the aorta, you have a left coronary artery. And I think we can move now to one more picture here, and I would like to, this picture probably say, oh, what is this? Well, so this is a cross-sectional area, cross-sectional cut of your abdominal cavity. And you remember that we were mentioning that the tracheoesophageal, so anteriorly you can see your left atrium, you can see your mitral valve and your interauricular septum. Yes, this is if you have the device coming just like his and pointing anteriorly. But if you do use the same device and then you rotate it, then you're going to see posteriorly. Okay, so this is posterior, which in the posterior you're going to see the aorta, and then anteriorly you're going to see all those that I mentioned. Okay, but now what I want to show you in this picture, because here are some organs that we should know. So this is your anterior, okay, and this is your posterior. Now your anterior, so we're going to have here the aortic root, which is this one here. This is the aortic root. Then you have your left atrium. Do you see anteriorly your left atrium? Sorry, this is not the left atrium. No, this doesn't make sense to me. No, yeah, your left atrium is this one here. Okay, so this one is the left atrium. Then behind of your left atrium you have your esophagus, which is this one here. Okay, and then behind of your esophagus you have this big structure, which is your descending aorta, which is this one. And now next to the descending aorta you have your azygos vein, which is this tiny structure here. Well, I have the device. If I enter the device through your esophagus, I enter here the probe. If I look anteriorly, so what I'm seeing, so I'm seeing your left atrium as we mentioned. But now if I use the same device, but I'm going to rotate posteriorly, so what I'm going to see, I'm going to see your descending aorta. Okay, so I think that with that in mind we can move on. So just to mention The other structure that we can see here, it is for example this one here. This one is the right ventricular. Then the other one that we can mention is this tiny one here, is the left inferior pulmonary vein. Okay, and just basically that. So thank you so much, and remember that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, and God bless you. Thank you for watching.